Hey guys, real quick before we get into today's video, I want to thank our video sponsor, which is Sonoran Desert Institute. SDI is an online school offering programs and courses specific to the firearm industry. If you want to learn about subjects like gunsmithing, shooting, sports management, firearm repair, and many others for the sake of just having the knowledge or making a career out of it, SDI is certainly something you guys should take a look at. They even have several different funding options available as well if that's something you guys are interested in. But I'll be sure to put a link in the description to Sonoran Desert Institute, so you guys feel free to check them out and kind of get started in your journey that way. But again, kind of exciting to think you guys can make a career out of the subject. But anyway, without any further ado, let's get on to today's video. What's going on, guys? Brandon here with Texas Plinking. You know, guns are pretty loud. Eventually I'll tell you something you don't know, but in this video, I'm kind of readdressing something of content I made back almost 3 years ago on, I think it was titled Quietest Sniper Rifle, something like that, just to get the views. That I was shooting a bolt action 308 subsonic suppressed, and it's really got to be one of the quietest forms you could get a gun. So let's talk about loud guns, why they're so loud. Now, to address a loud gun, you would think just throw a suppressor or a silencer on there and that will address that. That's what Hollywood and maybe some video games would have you believe. We that have shotguns and definitely suppressed guns know that's not totally true. You'll still see me shoot suppressed guns with hearing protection. They're still very, very loud. However, that's a good way to start. These two have the same adapter on these two rifles to where I could use the suppressor. Some suppressors work better than others, some are quieter than others. Before you guys ask, this is an AAC SDN6. Quite an older suppressor, it's 762, so it will suppress 308, which both of these are 308. So, once we put this on there though, that is a great way to start. In fact, on a bolt action, I can run that without hearing protection and I'm pretty good. I don't really get a ringing. On a semi-auto, not so much. The thing is, once you take care of the muzzle blast, or the vast majority of that, you're shooting a supersonic bullet. So that breaks the sound barrier and it sounds like a crack of a whip. And the crack of a whip sounds like a bullet going off because it breaks the sound barrier. It has that snap, and when it goes through that supersonic transition, it makes that really loud sound. So you could get around that by shooting some subsonic ammunition. Then you're left with, on a semi-auto, you're left with that action sound. And don't worry, we're going to demonstrate all of this and kind of work our way down to the quietest form of a rifle. But when you have that action, it's a big piece of metal just going back and forth. And sometimes, if you just kind of like lock the slide on an AR-15, or in this case, the SCAR 20. I'm too lazy, I'll pick it up later. If you just lock the slide, put it up to your ear, and then bring the slide home, that might ring your ear. That action itself is really, really loud. So, you see where I'm going with this? Same as I did 3 years ago, nearly. Suppressor, subsonic, bolt action. That's just about the quietest form you can get a gun. In fact, I would say, I think this is the quietest gun. Some people might argue a different suppressor. Yeah, that's a good argument, but 300 blackout, whatever else, I think it's all about the same. So this will be just about as quietest we could get a rifle. It's no louder than a staple gun, I kid you not. So let's go ahead and start with a really loud gun, work our way down. So you'll notice I have my hearing protection on. We've got a full speed supersonic round shooting out of a 20S. This is a 7.62 by 51, some surplus ammo just to prove the point, and a muzzle brake. Also pretty noisy. Go ahead and shoot it. Classic, very, very loud. I have another one loaded up, it's in the chamber now. One is quite noisy without hearing protection, but I'm not gonna go deaf if I only shoot a few shots. So for hunting, it's fine. So my ears respond to that by going a little quiet for about 2 seconds, and now I'm back up to normal. There's no ringing and it's like nothing happened. But for longevity, you don't want to do that. So what happens when I take a semi-auto, which by the way, the sound I was talking about is this sound itself. That's loud. That kind of bothers my ear just doing that. But if we take this semi-auto and we put a subsonic on there, I'll tell you right away, it's not going to cycle that round because there's not enough power to make this a semi-auto. But just to prove the point, it'll try a little bit. So let's run this configuration with a subsonic. This will be very quiet. To prove the point, I only loaded one, and it's not going to lock the slide back. So, but it will be significantly quieter. Even you guys will be able to tell. We're shooting like 40 yards and it was delayed to get there. So they're very, very slow. They won't damage too much. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to get shot by it, but yeah, it didn't lock back. There it goes. Didn't spit the brass out either. So yeah, there's that. You turned your semi-auto into a Beto O'Rourke approved rifle. So I don't know what good that's for you, but it is quiet. So now this is a quieter configuration only because it's a bolt action. Without a muzzle brake, it's a flash hider, so you kind of have a ring sound. But anyway, disregard that. This is a quieter system, so just because of the bolt, once it's supersonic unsuppressed, it all sounds the same. So we're gonna go ahead and start with that configuration. Full speed, 308, no suppressor. It's pretty noisy. You can tell the hearing protection is back on. Yeah, pretty noisy. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and throw that suppressor on there. Yeah, again, my ears kind of peaked a little, but there's no deafening at all. It didn't take 3 seconds to go away. It just never happened. I could shoot mags all day long with that thing, no problem. In fact, it's only gonna be louder here just because the way this is cut out, it really echoes. But yeah, because the bullet goes supersonic down there, so it just sounds like a little explosion down there. If we're on an open field, that's even quieter than that. All right, now the fun part. I've got a subsonic in here. We don't have to worry about it not running right, because it's always going to be a bolt action. So I expect to cycle it. Now this is going to be silly quiet. Yeah, that's way quieter than the Scar shooting that same round. A very quiet system. Of course, how effective is it? I don't know. Never tried to shoot a hog or anything with it. I don't think it would do much, if I'm honest. And before you guys ask, this is a factory Remington 700 AAC SD 22-inch barrel in a Accuracy International 2.0 chassis. And Arkin SH4 Gen 2 on it. If you want more content with this exact setup, I made a review on this scope. Check it out there. There's more of shooting at some long range with this system. But in here, we're just proving a point. There it goes. Those subsonics are a little rough to load in. But we're only about 65, 75 yards out, and just hear the delay on this 308 getting there, if I could even hit it. That sound of the steel getting hit is 15 times louder than the shot itself. Look at that delay. Ooh, okay. It's flatter than I thought. I aimed a little above its head. Again, about 70-ish yards. I'm gonna go dead center on it. Yeah, all right. It's not dying out as much as I thought it would. I'm sure once we go out to 100, it will. All right, well, let's move a little bit. Let's go to this swinger, a little bit smaller target. I was aiming a little bit lower end on that silhouette, so they're actually going pretty straight. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and end this video with a little test, something I'm super curious about. Longest I've ever shot a subsonic 308 was 100 yards, and I just had to aim a little bit above it. Now we're at about 320 yards. This thing's gotta be dropping like a brick, I would imagine. We're gonna start off just shooting some full speed loads and see what's up. So compare that, we'll do a couple more, to the subsonic. It gets there very, very quickly. I'm gonna sync up these two angles. It gets there in a hurry, but the sound delay is never gonna change no matter what you're shooting. But between shooting and seeing the plate rock, not much time at all. All right, now just for shiggles, we've got some subsonic at 300 yards. I don't even know how to begin to get this on target, so I'm just gonna aim way above it. Wow. I ran out of mills. I'm just way up on this thing. That's delayed though. Ignore that sound. That was a rock that hit that. Well, there's no denying these are definitely not precision loadings. Pretty sure that was a rock that hit that again. All right. Supersonic round, ending on a good note here. Yeah, subsonic's cool. It's like a novelty. Show your friends how quiet a gun could be, but that's the way they're meant to rock and roll. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video, kind of plinking around with something that is as loud as a staple gun when I can get the ammunition to feed into it. Hope you learned something. But anyway, that is it for this video. Big thanks to Big Daddy Unlimited for making videos like this possible. If you guys don't know about Big Daddy Unlimited, it's like Costco or Sam's for gun supplies online. $9.99 a month to save a lot of money when you buy something. So there's that. You can get your first month for 99 cents if you go through my link. Can't put the link in YouTube description because of YouTube policy. We'll find a way to make it work. It might be on my Facebook. Check it out there. Also, big thanks to Sonoran Desert Institute. Thank you guys so much for watching. Catch you guys next time. Take care.